I really enjoyed the TYCHO music video. That was done last year about this time. And I knew Scott, the artist, from a design conference in Amsterdam. I met him. We both live in the same city. And his record label, Ghostly, approached me with a very small budget, like incredibly small budget. And I think the reason why I loved the project so much was that it felt like a student project in a lot of ways. You know, we raised ample amount of money to go out into the woods and shoot for 4 days, and then shoot the band, and then shoot in the studio as well. So we actually shot more than the Prids video for like less than a third of the budget. I still don't understand how, but that's a different interview. And I think the thing that felt so good about the TYCHO project was just, it was like 8 of us going into the woods and camping together and waking up every day to go shoot just for the love. No one was getting paid. It just felt like I was back in school, and it was really fun, and learned a lot on that project in terms of just having expectations of when it was released. I had some expectations about the first video, and I learned a lot from that. I've learned that with your work you should never have expectations. You put everything you can into it, and then you complete it and you release it. And with no expectations comes no disappointment, you know? So I think that's a really valuable lesson, because you put so much into the work. But if you're detached from it, detached from those expectations, then anything that's received from it will feel really good. I had high expectations for the music video, and I thought it was going to lead to this and that, and a lot of the, you know, I never really read comments or anything, but a lot of the, there were some comments about just some of the components of the video, and so I actually did a recut of it, with just kind of the best elements based on feedback, and had no expectations with that recut, and the recut did incredibly well. And you know, I just learned that you should just be a little bit more detached from your work when you release it, you know. And so it was a really big learning experience. It was super fun. It was one of the most fun projects I've ever done, just because of the vibe, you know, the energy that we all put into it was really great. Shot in one of my favorite parts of the world, in the Big Basin National Forest in Northern California. That was really great. Great actors, great people, really fun camera techniques, and props, and practical effects, and the way we shot the band was really inspiring with the Connect and the infrared photography, and shot with full spectrum camera. It was just a really rich project. Had a lot of different styles and aesthetics that we were really excited about. I still dream in full spectrum sometimes, which is really fun. You know, so I don't know. It was a really good project, really rich, and it was nice to work with Ghostly. It was nice to work with such a talented musician such as TYCHO, and Scott Hansen, such a great guy, and yeah, it was a really great project. Yeah, I mean, we just shot with a full spectrum camera, so a modified Epic. So it's shot in ultraviolet and infrared. So we shot in infrared for the band and used the Connect to emit infrared dots over the band, and kind of had a laser in the background. And so when you shoot it, it's pitch black, but when you see it, what the camera captures is all these dots. It actually looks like a projection in a way, but it's just a million dots, and you can kind of rack focus through that space, and it kind of becomes this constellation, and really weird moire patterns, and really unique aesthetic, really cool. And then the full spectrum, the ultraviolet, we brought into the woods and shot the beach and the trees and the bushes and the plains, and crazy palettes, like crazy color palettes. And in working with a colorist in London, we're able to just pull out really weird palettes, kind of just something I've never done before. Really inspiring. And a lot of people do full spectrum photography as stills. So this is the first time, I think maybe a couple other people have done it, but it was the first time that someone really pushed that aesthetic, you know, and really pushed the grade. A lot of people will shoot full spectrum and just leave it purple, you know, but we really isolated different values and really pushed those color palettes to make really crazy looking images, and that was really fun. And then we weave that into a narrative about basically she wakes up in the forest and sees full spectrum, And in that world of full spectrum, there's other characters that she sees, but only she can see. So when we see her being, held up by this man, there's no one there, but when we look through her eyes, we see that there's this dark wizard, wearing this black cloak and this big beard. And that was kind of a fun narrative to play with. And, I'm not much of a narrative director in a lot of ways. I'm much more of a designer who likes live action as a medium, but it was very challenging and very rewarding to play in the narrative space, and I've been doing that more often now. Although I'm not really one who's gonna want to make a feature film with dialogue or a huge layered story. I'm more into short films and small little very abstract narratives. It's more inspiring, and it's a lot easier where I can just focus on the design and focus on the things that I would prefer to focus on. I don't have an ego in that sense where I think that doing a feature film is more mighty. I don't really care. I don't really need to do that, nor do I really want to do that. So I'm just more into the craft of cinematography and collaborating with really talented cinematographers, and always trying to push that